In the intriguing historical panorama of Europe, the traces of kings, conquerors and legendary fortunes have shaped its identity over the centuries. Today, the economic vitality of this region is evaluated by a fundamental indicator, the gross domestic product, GDP. In 1980, the sum of the GDPs of all European countries amounted to an impressive figure of $4 trillion. However, we travel back in time to the year 2024, and we will find a totally different panorama. Combined wealth has climbed to reach a dizzying $26.8 trillion. Today, on Extraordinary Walks, we survey the heights of economic prosperity, discovering which nations stand majestically atop this imposing financial landscape. We will explore the world of European countries that are exclusively within the old continent, without including the Eurasian ones, and we will analyze the gross domestic product, GDP, of these 43 nations, which, as we mentioned before, and together, reached the impressive figure of $26.8 trillion in 2024. This colossal sum gives us insight into the wealth and influence of this prominent economic bloc. We will begin our fascinating tour with the top 10 most prosperous European countries, and our first destination is Ireland. Although traditionally agricultural, this country has flourished with a highly productive economy among developed nations, with a GDP that has climbed from $21.43 billion in 1980 to an impressive $629.59 billion this year. Crossing the English Channel, we find the 9th place, Belgium. Strategically located in the heart of Europe, the Belgians have fostered a dynamic trade policy, boosting their GDP from $123.48 billion in 1980 to $658.12 billion today. And in 8th place we find Poland, home of the Red Eagles. With its vast territory and a diversified industrial sector, this country has experienced impressive growth, going from $56.73 billion in 1980 to $880.06 billion in the last 44 years. Our journey is just beginning. Get ready to discover the economic secrets of the most outstanding European countries. The first country to reach the trillion-dollar peak of this exciting ranking is the Netherlands, which is positioned in 6th place in this economic contest. With an open-door economy and a GDP that stands at an impressive $1.16 trillion today, compared to a modest $193.76 billion in 1980, this country has demonstrated exceptional economic growth. Spain, in 5th place, brings us into the realm of the big players in the European market. With an economy focused on agricultural production, a robust real estate sector and a thriving tourism industry, Spain boasts a GDP of $1.68 trillion in stark contrast to $230.76 billion 4 decades ago. Europe's boot, Italy, rises to 4th place with a GDP of $2.28 trillion. After the post-war period, the Italian Republic has transformed its economy from an agricultural base to one of the most industrialized in the world, greatly exceeding the $479.12 billion of its GDP in 1980. France takes the European bronze, representing around 4% of world GDP with an impressive total of $3.18 trillion compared to $702.24 billion 4 decades ago, consolidating itself as the second economy in the European Union. Brexit may have taken the UK out of the EU, but it remains an essential piece of this continent. In 2nd place is the United Kingdom, with a current GDP of $3.59 trillion, compared to a modest $604.85 billion during Margaret Thatcher's time. With a leading industry in sectors such as aviation, energy and transport, the UK continues to play a key role in the European economy. And finally, in 1st place, the Federal Republic of Germany is crowned the most powerful economy in Europe. With an impressive GDP of 4.7 trillion US dollars, this country has seen remarkable growth from its Bavarian GDP of 853.71 billion US dollars 9 years after the fall of the Berlin Wall.